Hello everyone! I decided to make a video on how to make beautiful crystal appliques to decorate your costumes. I really hope that this video will be kind of a sneak peek onto my personal work approach. Just gonna give you the brief explanation of what I have on the table right now and what I'm gonna be using it for. Here I already have prepared some appliques that I'm going to be decorating. This is felt. We need 4mm thick one. Don't take any thinner one because it's not going to hold the form really well. Just in case if you can't find the thick one in the shops, if you can only find 1-2mm one, then you'll need to glue 2 layers together. Then it's suitable for the type of work we're going to be doing. So again, I'm having thick felt here. It's 4mm thick and I have already cut the appliques. You can create any pattern you like. It's all up to your imagination. Maybe you can find something online, some beautiful pictures, beautiful flowers online, and any other pattern that you personally like. So I have smaller ones, I have larger ones. I also like making kind of a mirrored ones for the costumes. Just as an example here, I have, you can see that they're mirrored, so I can place them on the costume afterwards just in any way I would like to. I'm gonna start with a smaller one. It's not gonna be a short video, I'm telling you straight away, because this work takes some time, and also I'm gonna be explaining what I'm doing on the way, so that's why please don't expect that it's gonna finish in like 20 minutes. It's gonna take much longer than that. You can see my work step by step, everything what's going on here. So I'm also gonna show you some crystal change and crystals that I personally like using for my costume works. I really like volume, so that's why I like using the stones in clothes, like here you can see. So you can see 4 little holes right on the sides of the stone. So that's how you adjust it to the costume, that's how you adjust it on your item. And I like using different colors and different sizes of the stones because it gives more variety to the pattern, it gives some more color, so it just looks more rich, it looks nicer, it looks more interesting rather than using just one plain color. But again, it's completely up to you how you're using the colors, how you're mixing them together. You can make something universal, or you can choose making something in crystal shade or maybe a champagne shade, blue shade. So it's again all entirely up to your personal imagination. For the particular item I'm going to be making now, I'm using 3 sizes of stones in 2 different colors, because this is going to be a universal set which would suit any color of skirts, sleeves, accessories, so it's going to be used for anything. Okay, so next what I'm having here is I'm having a few cup chains. You can see that's the cup chain, that's what it is, because I have received many questions on what the cup chain is when I describe my costumes, my designs. The cup chain is crystals that are kind of wrapped in a metal that I inserted into a metal plate. So that's what the cup chain is. I have a few different sizes. I have 2 colors, and when it comes to cup chains, you can find like a high density one, which means the stones itself are closer to each other, or you can find a bit smaller dense, so you can see, right, stretched here, the distance, the gaps between the stones, and in here as well. This is high density one, and this is lower density one, so that's the difference between those, and apart from the color as well. You can find the plating in gold, you can find the plating, this metal plating, in silver. Again, lots of different options here. Nowadays I believe you even can find the same color plating as the stone, which is very interesting, but I only saw very small sizes of those. And you can see the very tiny cup chains as well here. I usually use this kind of a size either for like dangly bits, or I also often use that just to fill the gaps, you know, when I already set the main idea up, I would like to fill all the gaps possible, so I'm using the tiny cup chains or little glue-on stones. Okay, then I also like using unusual cup chains like this one for moving parts. As you can see, it's sparkling, it's gorgeous, it's amazing, and all I need is just to adjust it in the way I want. So that's also what I'm going to be using today, and also some more types of the cup chain, some more sizes here. I even have this one. It's a large, gorgeous chain which has no catchy claws, which means if the costume is made entirely out of this kind of a chain, it won't catch your beautiful veils, it won't catch and damage your accessories, your skirts, etc, etc. I'm using that a lot and I love it very much. It is expensive, but it's definitely worth it. So if you're looking for something for your costume which is non-catchy, which won't damage your veils, your fans and all the other accessories you're possibly using for your performances, then this chain is definitely the right option for you, because it doesn't have the catchy claws, so it's absolutely safe. I guess that's pretty much it about the stones and the cup chains, so I'm just gonna move that away and tell you a bit of the preparation process. What I'm using, you can see this blue mat at the bottom. This is a special silicone mat for baking, but I use it a lot as a protection level because I don't really want to damage my table, because I'm using glue and lots of different things, so I don't really want to make my table dirty. So I'm using that because it's really non-sticky. When the glue dries, it's very easy to peel it off, as you can see, which means your decorated parts will also move really easily, peeled really easily off the mat. Then I need something to cut the chains, right? So this is what this is for, and this is mainly for stitching. So when I'm stitching all the chains with the needle, so I glue them on first, as you will see soon, but then I also stitch them on. I'm using this special tool for pulling the needle through, just if it doesn't go through as easily, so that's very handy stuff. Well, of course we will need glue, so this is the glue I am using. Write it down, order it. Of course we will need some scissors, because when you'll cut off the patterns you will need your scissors. Right, so I'm all ready to start. I'm gonna show you step by step on how I do the actual decoration, how I apply the crystal chain, how I put the glue on, and the entire process of one applique. First of all, I need to decide which color I'm starting with, right? So I would like this particular color and this chain size to be at the outer edge here. So now I'm just going to apply it. Don't be worried to move this around as comfortable. So again, it's completely up to you how you set up your space. I like it this way in particular, and I always start with the corner. I put the chain on the side which is comfortable for me to start my work, right? So now I'm all ready to go with it. So I apply quite generous amount of the glue. I'm pretty sure you can see the line now on the video. And I go all the way, just all the way there to the very end. Okay, done. So generous amount of glue, don't be greedy, because it's gonna catch the chain really well, but still it is a great idea to stitch it after. I always do both. I do stitching and I do gluing. So then it just lasts forever and my clients are not complaining that something is ripping apart, which I don't really want to be happening. I'm sure no one does. So that's how I do. I like the stones to go just in a one row with no gaps in between. So that's why I'm putting my cup chain right over the top of the glue. If you see that the glue went through the fabric, through the felt, then please feel free to add more glue, so then your edges will be more secured and the cup chain would be secured really, really, really well. Okay, we're carrying on now. So now, when I applied the line, what I want to do is I want to make sure that my line has a really nice and smooth shape with no any gaps, no any disruptions. So it's all carefully adjusted right to the edge of my pattern, of my applique that I cut off earlier. Again, don't be worried to carefully move that around. As the glue doesn't dry off straight away, we obviously have some time to adjust our pattern in the way we want. So now you can see that the line, apart from this particular place, now it's all nice. So now we have a lovely and smooth line, and I'm very picky about this when I am making my own designs. I always need to have a complete perfection, so I'm always spending some time to adjust that. Okay, so as you can see, after I cut the chain, I have this tiny leftover bit here of the metal. I hope you can see it, just like a little tail in here. I definitely don't want this to stay there, so what I'm doing is I'm cutting it off. As you can see, this kind of a chain cannot really do very sharp turns, so that's the maximum it can do. I can't bend it any further. We see that there is a bit of an edge in here, right? So I'll definitely need to make some disrupt of the chain here. So maybe 2 on the corner separately and then the rest. So I'm ready to start. So again, I'm using a generous amount of glue. And I'm going around again. So where I'm start, you can see that I'm trying to follow the applique pattern as much as possible. All those tiny gaps, they wouldn't be visible on the item when the costume is completely adjusted. And you can always put some really tiny glue-on stones in there afterwards when you're finalizing the outfit. Okay. Doing more here. Yeah, and that's what I was talking about. So now I would really like to cut this one here like this. Adjust it. Make a nice smooth line. Just like this. Yep. And then I just need 2 more. So I'm going to add more glue because I can see it went through the felt, through the material a lot. Okay, again, I'm cutting off this little tail. And then I need 2. So I put it on top and adjust it just like this. Yeah. All great, all how I want it to be. So now I don't just want one color at the edge, I want something inside as well. So what I'm doing now, I'm taking the other shade, the other color, but the same size of the crystal cup chain. Right, I need to make it all straight and nice. And again, I'm just repeating pretty much what I done at the beginning with this edge line. Though, because the glue is not yet secured, make sure that you're not pushing the new line of decoration towards it. So you're not actually damaging what you have already done. So make sure you're careful about that. So again, I put it from the side where I feel most comfortable to work with. Applying more glue. Again, make sure it's a generous line of it. We need to make sure that our cup chain is securely glued on. If you see that the glue is going down, that the glue is going through the felt too much, then please feel free to reapply to add more. It's never too much glue, trust me. Okay, so again, I'm following the edge, but I'm not pushing it too much towards what I have done already, because I don't want to damage what I have already done, right? Okay, so now I can clearly see that I'm ready to cut it here. Oh, okay, see, that's what I'm talking about. Bringing it all back nicely, connecting together. Make sure we're following the edge really clearly. All nice and careful. You can kind of slightly push one towards the other one from two different ends like this. So then they're all gonna have nice and straight pattern. They're gonna follow it really, really beautifully. Okay, so then when you at this particular stage, you can decide whether you want more decoration, or maybe you decide that you want to add some stones in here already and you just want the rest absolutely plain blank. But what I'm gonna do is fill it up with the decoration completely. So what I want here, I want another edge in the champagne color. And so again here, because of this turn, I would definitely need to disrupt the line, but I'll see where. Okay, double checking all the edges that it's all nice and adjusted, nice and smooth line, and then I'm ready to carry on. So adding more glue, lots and lots of glue. When the glue dries, it also straightening the felt a lot, so your applique will be really stable and it will be really hard, so your costume wouldn't lose its shape. Okay, again, as you can see, I'm ready to cut it here. Yep, so let's adjust this particular bit first. Okay, and I can add two in here. Okay, I have enough glue in there. So applying this, and you can see that again, it all has a nice and smooth line, all covered. Gently pushing towards. Yeah, so you can see that it's very shiny already, but this is far not the end. I would really love to add again a different color, a different shade. So I'm gonna apply this crystal shade cup chain to the inner layer again. But at the moment, I only want it at the top. So let's go. Generous amount of glue. I would say super generous amount of glue. and then I'm ready. Again, you can see that this is not so high density cup chain. So what I want to do is I want no any blanks, no any gaps between the stones. So I'm gonna push them towards each other to keep this line on my applique. But if you want a slightly less budgeted costume, if you're doing something and you want to fit into smaller amount of materials and budget, then you can just keep it this way. You can use it as it is done by the manufacturer. Okay, I can see that while I was talking to you, my glue line went a bit down through the felt, so I'm gonna reapply, because I need to make sure that it's gonna hold the chain well. We still need to sew it afterwards, to sew it on, to secure it completely. Don't be lazy on that. But we also need to make sure that it's glued on really properly as well. Again, don't push too hard, so we're not damaging the 2 layers that we have already done. Okay, let me check. Yeah, so I can see that this would be the last one. Just like this. All smoothly went in. Yep, all works, all great. So again, I am cutting the little tail off because I don't really want any leftovers in there. So now I'm ready to do this one. So as I don't really want this edge here have exactly the same shade as in here, I want it to look like a separate bit. I would take the champagne color chain again. Though we need to make sure that we can make this shape work, because this is a high density stone chain. We need to make sure we can bend it in a certain way that it follows the pattern. So I'm not gluing it straight away. I am just checking first if I can shape it in the way I need. It seems like I can. So what I'm doing next is I am cutting this amount I have just measured. That's exactly how much I will need. And then I'm applying a glue line. And carefully applying the Rhinestone chain on top of it. Shaping it as I need. And if you see that it's slightly smaller than what you need to have, you can just move the stones apart a tiny bit. So then it all fits the shape that you need to get at the end. Just like this. Right, so I don't really want to put anything in here because the idea is to have a dangly bit in the middle of it. So I'm gonna apply this moving part right inside of it. So then when it is on the costume, when I sew it onto my costume base, this is gonna be moving. So I'm leaving it as it is, though careful. And if you need to turn it again around, make sure that you're pushing it from the sides like this. So where the felt is down, and you're carefully moving that around. So you're not kind of catching it uncarefully and ripping everything apart straight away by doing that. So make sure that you just touch this felt, because we have quite thick felt on the bottom, and slightly holding it, pushing it, we're just twisting it around. So that's how it's done. Right, so here again, this is up to you. You can either apply another level, another line of the chain. You can use smaller chain, you can use larger chain, because there are larger options of the chain that I am using. Now, I would really like to start adding some crystals in there. I'm gonna check what size of the stones is best, what fits this idea well. I'm gonna unpack the other color as well here, because I really like mixing them. So if I'm using a couple of stones or even 3 stones in a row, I really like mixing the colors together. Like I like either putting AB crystal shade and then champagne and then AB again, like this, or other way around. I can have 2 champagne one and the crystal one in the middle. You can buy absolutely different color of stones according to your wishes and your imagination, depending on what you want to get at the end. You can use black one, just kind of add it really sharp, bright accent on your costume, or maybe entirely different color. So this is not exactly what you need to choose, what you need to go for. Obviously, it depends on the idea, on your preferences of the color, how you like it. But again, as I'm making a universal set here, I need the color to match what I needed to match. I'm ready to carry on with the work. So what I do with these stones, yes, I do need to sew them on, these particular stones, but I also like gluing them in too. So then I know that I added extra security and they're not gonna go anywhere. They're just gonna stay there forever and serve its owner forever too. Okay, more stones in here. Why I also prefer working on the silicone mats is because it's scratch resistant for stones. So you can see that the stone wouldn't be damaged. And if I do that on the hard surface, obviously it would be scratched. Especially when I sew the appliques onto the costume, or when I stitch the cup chain around, I need to turn it over there and back. So if I'm doing it on the hard surface, the stones get scratched really easily, especially when it comes to glass. So make sure that you use something soft underneath, so when you work with the stones, like when you sort them around, you don't need to be worried about scratching, because they're not going to be damaged because of the surface. Let's have a look what looks best in here. So what I can do is I can use the large one, and then I can use a bit smaller one like this, right? It looks great. Then also what I can do is I can just take smaller size, and I can use this one and the same size like this, and possibly I can even fit this one on in somehow, but I'm not going to be doing it right now. Or I can go for completely smaller ones. So let me find them here. Oh yeah, I found them. So this is the pack I need to finish. Here you can see I'm having larger one here, and then I'm adding slightly smaller one, and again tiny one, like this. You filling it up in the way you like the most, depending on what color accent you would like, how it blends in, counting what you have already applied with other colors. So what I would like to do in here is I would like actually to go with larger one, I think. So I would like to apply this one, and then I would like to apply this one. But also you can see that if I apply it this way, we have one shape, right? But the option also is to do it this way, so they kind of are looking. I need a bit smaller size here then. So I can do it this way as well. So they're looking the same direction. See what I mean? So that's also what you can do. Again, all up to you how to fill it up. You can even use all the small ones. Look, if I'm using it this way. 1, 2, and then 3. Tiny ones. Or we can use it like this, smaller, larger, smaller. So again, it's completely up to you how you will be filling this up. I'm gonna carry on and show you how I glue them on. So obviously, because this is a metal, there is no textile glue that would stick it completely. So the textile glue doesn't stick metal really well. It can only add extra security, but you still need to stitch the stones on. There are glues for metal, obviously, but the problem is that while they're drying, they're really strong. They're different kind of glues. And when they're drying, they damage the crystal, so the crystal goes all pale. There is a kind of some weird layer that beginning to like to appear on top of crystal. It's a glue, literally. So while the glue is drying, it's drying in a very weird way, and it's damaging the crystal. So that's why it's only textile glues that are suitable for this kind of work. First of all, I need to define the pattern to make sure that I know exactly how it's applied and how I'm going to stitch it on. But then also, when it's dry and I stitch it on, it adds extra stability. So even if the thread got ripped at some point, the glue will still keep the crystal. So that's why if something is damaged, there is less risk that you're gonna lose the stone from the costume. What am I going to do here? I think I would like to apply large one, and then I might apply this one like this. So 2 stones, and then I can either fill the leftover gaps in later on, or I can just leave it this way, because on the costume it already is going to work absolutely stunningly, absolutely beautifully. What I do here, I take the glue and I put it, make sure that you can see it properly. So I put it right on the back, on this back plate of the crystal, like this. And I'm gonna put it back on, but I'm not gonna push it into, so don't push it. Just place the stone on the place you're gonna leave it on, and that is all. Don't push it in, because then the glue goes through the fabric a lot, through the felt. And our stone will be adjusted with less strength that it should. Okay, I'm repeating the same thing with the next one. Okay, done. And then carefully, oh, I think I got the wrong size, happens. Don't worry if this happens, you can just take the cloth and wipe it off. So this is not a problem at all. But leave the stone like this. So you're not going to glue it on any surface. So I'm going to use little one, smaller one. I put some glue on the back of the stone and carefully put it on the place I would like to have it. Just like this. So it's done. Okay, everything here is fine. This glue is slowly drying. So we can start working on the next applique while this one is drying. What I like doing is I like gluing lots of them first, so they're all done, all prepared, and then I am going to stitch it. So I'm going to secure the crystal chain on it. About this particular bit, so as I mentioned before, I'm going to use this kind of a chain. This is what I'm going to put inside of it, this moving part. Though I'm not sure yet how this particular applique is going to be located on the costume, on my set. What I need to make sure is that this particular dangly bit is looking down, right down, when it's applied to a costume, to the base, right? So it's not like this. You see, it straight away loses a bit of movement, and it can also be broken really easily, and not looking up, right? Like this. So we need it to look down exactly. That's why I am leaving this particular bit till the very end, when I'm already adjusting my ready-made and ready-prepared appliques onto the costume set. So then I can adjust it in the way so it looks down on the costume. So I'm going to move it a bit closer towards the camera, like this. So you can see that this can be put like this, right? So this is looking down. But also maybe on the costume I'll have to have it this way, and it will look down this way. That's why I'm leaving this till the very, very end, when I know exactly how the applique is situated on the costume, how it's adjusted to my belly dance costume set. I'm gonna move this one carefully away to dry. Do let it dry completely. I know that sometimes we don't have enough time to wait. I know that sometimes we have to rush with finishing our outfits and everything, but do let the applique dry completely before you start stitching it, okay? Because otherwise there is a really high risk that you will damage what you've done, that some stones will fall apart, that the plates wouldn't be as adjusted securely as we would like it to be. When this is all dry, we're going to adjust the outer layer. We're going to stitch every single bit so our outer edge is entirely secured. When it comes to the other two other layers, we can allow it 3, maybe even 4 crystals in between every stitch. So the most important is to secure the outer stitch completely, and then we can allow a bit more space between stitching in all the other rows we have on the applique. I think it's all okay. So we can start adjusting, we can start stitching on the pattern. I'm using the thread, the color of the felt, so the actual base color. So I'm gonna take the beige thread, and I like using the shorter needle for this particular work because we won't see the threads on the inside. It doesn't really matter. You don't really need to go for a exact matching color thread. You can still use any of those, but I have 3 different shades, you can see. And to me personally, this one is the best match, so I'm going to be using this one. I'm also going to show you the one important tool that I'm using. It's a thimble. So if you're going to be working with such sets, if you're going to be making such decorations, you're going to do a lot of stitching. It's a huge amount. I would say the most time you would spend on it is the time you spend stitching. So it's days and days and days, guys. So that's why make sure you protect your hands, you protect your finger, so you can see how it sits. Obviously, if you're left-handed, that's gonna go to the other hand. So what it does, I'll show you. I'm actually gonna take larger needle just to show you, so you can see it a bit better, a bit clearer. When you stitch, obviously, you have to push the needle through the fabric. And how this is happening, let me take the non-decorated applique just to show you. So you can see how I hold the needle, right? Like this. So when we push it through, you can see that this particular finger is the one that's pushing the needle through the fabric, right? So again, you see how I hold it, and this is the finger with the thimble. So when I push the needle through, you can see that my middle finger is the one that's pushing the needle through the fabric. And just imagine if I have no thimble and I push it over and over and over again, I'll have a problem with my finger, right? It's going to be extremely painful and extremely uncomfortable. So that's why seamstresses use the thimbles to protect their hands. and it's going to be much more comfortable to work with it as well. It feels a bit unusual at the beginning, but please do stick to that. Stick to working with the thimble for a few days, and then you just will not imagine how you lived before without it. So that's my advice to you. It's not even advice, it's demand. So please do that. Otherwise, you're going to end up with a trouble with your finger, and you will have such a terrible experience with sewing as well. So you won't get back to it ever again. Okay, we decided on the thimble. We're using it, right? We all do use it. So now I'm ready to show you how I do the stitching. I like using a bit shorter needle. That's the shortest one I currently have at the moment. Hope you can see it properly. And I like to use double thread in it. Double, double, double. So I need to secure the edge. So I put it on my finger, hold it with my thumb, wrap it around, and then roll it up and pull. So then I have the secured edge. If I have too much thread on the edge, I can just cut it before the secured part. And then I'm ready. So I'm taking my thimble and I'm all ready to go. So what I do is, I'm gonna try my best to show you. I go from inside, pushing the needle through, pulling it, and then I wrap right between the chain. As I need to secure it, I'm repeating this twice now on the edge. And then what I do is, when I did one edge, I'm gonna try to show it closer to you, like this. You can see that's the starting point. So then what I do is I move to the next one, pull it out, wrap it again, and then to the next one, the inner part, like this. Again, wrap it and go to the next one. So I'm going to show you the inner part now. I'm just going to adjust this one and then show you. So as you can see, the inner part now has the stitches like a Christmas tree. You know how kids are drawing the Christmas tree. So they're diagonal from one to another. And we need to go through every single one. So the outer edge has to be all secured like this. It's extremely important, guys. If you don't do that, if you skip on this step, your costume will be falling apart. So outer edge is the most important to do so. And so I'm ready to carry on. I'm just going to follow the outer pattern now completely. So I'm gonna just follow it. And also, you know what I like doing as well, to make sure that it's entirely secured at the beginning, because you know where we had the beginning of the lines, right? Like here. We have this little claws on the stone, right? So what I also like doing is I like bringing the needle out right next to this claw on one side, and then wrap the thread through this claw like this. And then what I do is I bring the needle through the other side of the claw. Let me twist it around, so maybe, hopefully, you are going to see it properly. Okay, and I'm bringing the needle through with a thread. So the beginning of the line, this particular stone, is also secured on its place. And I'm going to do the other side as well. So, you know, the stone has 4 claws on the side, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to secure 2 at the very beginning of the line. So that's what I'm currently doing. And then I have 1 left. So I'm bringing the thread through the claw again, like this. You see? It goes right through the claw and secures the stone. And then I'm ready to carry on how I did before. So I'm going right over like this and go through the next one, and then again next one, and then again next one. So that's how I have to carry on until I have secured every single chain on the applique. Just like this. So then I know that the costumes are not falling apart. They're gonna serve a long time because everything is adjusted really properly and really, really well. You'll have to change the thread many times, of course. You can't have as long one to adjust the whole thing. And also my advice is try to work with a shorter thread. Maybe maximum, I don't know, 40 centimeters is probably the maximum you should do, because it's extremely uncomfortable to work with a long thread. It seems like longer thread, less times you need to change it. It means it's going to speed up the process. No, actually it's absolute opposite way. So please do use the shorter threads. It's going to definitely make your life much easier. Again, you see, I came to the end of the line, to the very first crystal, very first stone of the line. So I need to secure those 2 claws, right? So again, I'm bringing the thread next to 1 claw, going through the claw with the thread, and then move the needle down. And then again, we have another one. So I'm going through the claw and bringing it down. Just like this. That's the pattern it's going to have. Your threading pattern. So I'm ready to secure this edge already, because I don't really want to go through the whole one with you now, guys. I'm pretty sure that you could pick up how it's going, how it's happening. So what I would like to show you is how to secure these larger stones, these metal plated large stones that we have also applied. So I am going to cut the thread. Also, when you cut the thread, leave about 1 centimeter of it. So don't cut it right at the very end, very bottom of it. So as you can see here, I have left 1 centimeter. So because my appliques are not completely dry yet, because I'm speeding this thing up to show you, to make sure that I'm showing you every single step I'm doing, my stones are not yet secured, so they may come out of the glue. So again, I'm gonna use double. For the stones you can even use 4 threads, which is probably what I'm gonna be doing now. I cut a long thread, and then I bring 2 edges together like this. So I have 2 edges on the one side, and then I have a loop on the other side, and then I use the 2 edges and put them through a needle, and then I'm pulling the loop and the edges together. And then just exactly as I did at the beginning, I put it on my finger, hold it with the thumb, then I wrap it around the index finger, roll it up and pull. So then I have the secured edge on it. These stones have little holes at the bottom, right? So they have 2 here, you can see the needle going through, and 2 here. So 4 in total. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what we need to do is we need to bring the needle through with a thread to secure the stone. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I am bringing the needle through the fabric right next to this hole, to one of the holes on the stone. Bring it through, and then I am pushing it through, slightly bending the applique. I'm pushing the needle through the stone and pull, and then I bring it through the felt again, right next to the hole on the opposite side, right? So we're bringing the needle out here, going through, and then we need to push it back down. Okay, that's done. So one side is secured. So now I'm going to repeat it as we have other pair of holes on here. So now I'm going to do exactly the same thing. So bringing the thread up through the felt next to the hole, and then I'm going to go through the hole, slightly bending the applique, right? So I can access this hole and bring the needle through. That's the moment when you may need those as well, because you see it has very narrow edge, much narrower than your fingers, right? So you can just grab the needle and bring it through. Much easier, without bending much, without damaging much. So, and then again next to the hole, I bring the needle down through the felt. So this one is secured, but to me personally, this is not enough. I like also doing the following. As you can see, the stones have claws as well. The 4 sides of the stone, I'm bringing the needle back up, right next to the claw. I hope you can see it. And then I wrap the thread right into this claw. Pull it slightly. So my thread went under the claw now as well. And I push it back in and pull. So now it has double protection, even triple. It has glue, it has the regular holes adjustment, and it also has extra claws adjustment. So I'm doing the same thing with the other sides. As you can see, the needle comes out right next to the claw. The thread is getting wrapped right under, you can see right under this claw, and then it goes down again on the other side of the claw. Like this. So now the stone is not gonna go anywhere. It's super protected, super well adjusted. So if you make your appliques, your costume appliques in this particular way, they would serve you for ages, forever and ever and ever. Okay, so the first one is done, right? We have the other one, so we're doing exactly the same things now. So I'm bringing my needle through right next to the hole at the bottom, right? You can see it, I hope, guys. I bend it slightly. Now I do need to bend it again like this, the applique, carefully, so I can actually access this hole, and then I bend the other half as well, so needle can get through. But because I don't really want to damage it, I don't want the stone and the metal plate to come out of the glue, I'm not bending it too much. I'm bending it just enough to bring it through, and then I can use those to take the needle and to pull it through. So I don't really need to bend it more than that. Like this. And then I bring it back in to the inner part, and it's done. This part is secured. And then we have another set of holes. So it's 4 in total, don't forget. Secure all of it. And again, I'm slightly bending, bringing the needle through. And then instead of bending too much and catching it with a finger, I'm using my tools to help my work. And in. We did the holes at the bottom of the stone, right? So those ones we did. Now we need to make sure we secure the claws as well. So bringing it out, wrap the thread inside under the claw and bringing it back in. Next one, out, under the claw, and in. And the next one, under the claw, down, and the last one on this one, under, like this, and down. So now our stones are super secured, double, triple security. They're not gonna fall, then nothing is gonna happen to it. And if something will rip under the claw, we have the bottom layer. If then it will rip more, then we have a glue layer. So this is extra protection. So you need to try real hard to damage it, to be honest. And it's 4 threads as well. Now, after I've done with the stones, I need to secure the thread at the bottom. So how I do that is I just choose a small bit of the felt and bring the needle with the thread through at the same spot a few times, like this. And then what I do is I bring it through on the last time and I make the needle come out slightly further away. Again, I'm using tools to help me. And then it's done. Then you can either cut it if the thread is too short. But in my case, I can actually carry on and to do some more in here to this particular place. Or I can start from where I finished before, here. So it's completely, again, up to you how you stitch it, how you go, which direction. I think I would finish this particular bit, right? So now, so then I can change the thread and carry on. I like to do the inner and the outer parts separately. When I work, I don't usually do both together, you know? I like to secure completely the outer edge and only then I move to the inner edges. So usually the combination of works I use is outer edge, then stones, and then the inner edge. So that's my favorite pattern of how I do things. Right. We're nearly done here. And also, guys, don't forget that we have the beginning of the line here, right? So that's the edge, that's the final stone of the line. So we do want to secure the claws as well, so the stone is not moving anywhere. I'm securing one claw, go in, wrap it. And then I have the other claw as well. So I'm moving the thread in as well. Make sure that all the 4 or 2 threads, no matter what you use, but make sure that all the threads went under the claw. So they're all equal, all the same. Okay, push it through. When the glue gets hard, it is hard to push the needle through without using a thimble. So you can use this all the time, pulling your needle there and back, but trust me, it's just gonna waste so much of your time. It's just impossible to cope. As I can't really allow myself to spend so much time, I use the thimble to do this job. So it helped me to bring the needle through when the fabric is harder because of the glue already. And then again, I am securing the thread, bringing it through the same place a few times, like this. And you can see again that the finger with the thimble is pushing the thread, the needle under. So then the last one, slightly further away, like this. And now I'm ready to cut it. So I leave slightly more because I brought it through under. It has some extra tail, so we don't need to cut it as we did before. It's okay if we leave it this way. If you can see that we just did as much and we still have the outer edge to complete, but also we have the inner edge too. We have 2 lines here and 1 extra line of the inner edge here. So it's still quite a job to do left. This is pretty much the same idea for all the rest. So allow it a lot of time, because it will take a lot of time to secure all the edges, to secure all these little patterns. But please do it. Don't leave it as it is with the glue, because the textile glue can only secure the metal plate on the felt temporarily, but unfortunately, if you use the costume, the set, for a few times, the metal plates would start falling off this glue. So you do need to secure it. You do need to make sure that you spend this time, but you're spending it for adjusting your costume for a really long time use. That's like absolutely necessary thing to do. I'm gonna show you the final bit I'm doing to make the edges nice and straight pattern. As you can see, when I'm moving felt applique around a lot in my hands, these edges may get a bit kind of a softer, you know what I mean, because the edge is not glued. So what we can do, we can glue it at the very beginning as well, but what I like doing is, I like using a regular lighter, but please do practice on the small, like on the small piece first, so you're not like ruining the applique and thread. So I'm gonna take and show you on the little cut off, which I don't need, it's like a rubbish anyway. So what we need to do is, as you can see, I'm just gonna pull this on purpose now, like damage it really much on purpose. You see that it got a bit kind of a rough now. So what I want to do is, I would like to adjust it using this lighter, using the fire temperature. So this got a bit harder. This is not a kind of a natural material. It's getting melted. So the edge would be more adjusted, more kind of a secured as well. We don't hold, as you can see how I move the lighter. So I don't hold too long like this. It's just enough. It's not going to damage this threading that you have already done, but it's going to secure the edge more. So that's exactly what I am doing with my pattern edges. So I am using the lighter to just secure these edges after I done the stitching. So you see that the threads are not damaged, right? It's all there in place. But it got slightly harder because it just melted a bit. I'll show again, just like this. Very light movement. We don't hold the fire on the same place for a long time. So as I showed on the sample cut, I'm gonna cut one edge again. Please do practice first. You'll have lots of small cut-offs, so please do practice. Just like this. You can see if I hold it too long, it starts melting in, right? I'm doing it on purpose now so you can see what's going on. Melted, right? But this is a bit burnt now. So what we're doing is we're securing the edge, but we're melting it just enough to make the edge harder, though not to burn it. So that's the idea of it. So please do practice. It does take some time to practice. That's pretty much it about crystal appliques. And then when we know how the applique is gonna be located on the costume, we can adjust the dangly bit. I'm just gonna quickly put it on so you can see now. That's how it will be on the costume, or maybe your applique will be situated on your costume set like this. So then again, we need the dangly bit to look down, so it will be this way. And while you're dancing, this will be moving together with you. So it will be really beautiful. It's gonna shine and add some volume to your movements as well. So that's pretty much about making the appliques. Do your own form, find some beautiful patterns or draw some beautiful patterns, and create, enjoy the process, make beautiful outfits, and enjoy this. I really hope that this video was very useful for you, and please feel free to comment, feel free to share, and just also to let you know that I do teach privately for costume base making and everything, so you can also get in touch with me about that. Have the best evening. If you make something like this using this video tutorial, please share it with me. I'm extremely interested to see what my students do. So please do send me the pictures, the videos and everything. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks for those who were here from the beginning till the very end. I really appreciate it, and I really hope it was useful. See you soon in the new tutorials.